Klausies partneri noziegumā kopā ar Ādamu Croftu un Robertu Daws.
Yes, hello. We are back. We had a week off. Couldn't get hold of Bob in Latvia, but he is back here in his hotel room. Hello. Yes, well, I'm still in.
That's why. I mean, I'm not only in a wonderful Baltic state, but stuck out in right in the middle of the country and in a beautiful spot. But very far from civilization as we know it, and none the worse for that, I have to say.
Well, good. Apologies. Yes, rather, yes. Apologies in advance for the sound quality, which is going to be inevitable on this podcast, because I've just realised we've actually both forgotten to record local audio, so it'll be coming off of the video that goes to the patrons. But you know what? That's fine. It gives Moriarty less editing to do, and I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure he'll give me a nod if it's not. So yes, how are things in Latvia, Bob? For those who have not listened over the past few weeks, and why would you? Because we've mostly not been here, but you're currently in the Baltics.
I am in the Baltics, heavily in the Baltics. It's been fine, really. I mean, I've had this gap in the middle of. I did a lot of filming for the first month, and then I've had this sort of 10-day, 12-day gap where I wasn't scheduled to work, and the idea was I was going to come home. But then everyone said, well, you know, the UK is going into lockdown. We're going to lockdown here. What happens if, you know, you go away and you can't come back again? So I had a chat with Amy about this because I was really looking forward to getting home, as you can imagine. And we said, well, you know, you can't take that chance. So I've been here and having a marvelous time. Luckily, the production is very jolly, and although most of them, the production have been filming right out in the country in a wonderful place called Abgunsta, which is just quite beautiful out there, but very solitary. Well, I've been back here, but fortunately, we've had one of the young leading actors in this, Jack Stewart, who's been here, and we've had one of the film's consultants. William, who's been here, and the film designer has been travelling backwards and forwards, and fortunately he's a marvellous cook. So we've had a few jolly dinner parties, and that's. I finished writing a ghost story set in Riga, which you're right. Hobeck, my publishers, are doing a Christmas anthology, which I think is a terrific idea. So they've asked their writers whether they contribute a sort of a Christmas ghost story. So I've just sent mine in, and it's called, not surprisingly, I suppose, Riga Mortis.
Very good. Very, very good.
See what I did there? So yes, I've been gainfully employed, but I start work tomorrow, and then I'm sort of flat out every day filming until the end. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, it's that's quite tight, isn't it? It's only a month until Christmas.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it is quite tight. I mean,
quick turnaround, and
it's a very good but ambitious schedule, of course, because they need to get it all done. And we work in a bubble, and this is what's happening in the UK. You have a sort of a filming bubble where we're all tested for coronavirus, and we all have, you know, we arrive at work every day and we have our temperatures taken, and in my case, my pulse, and someone to help me with my skip, and so it's all very, very, very well organised. And we have also the good fortune of having assistants to the actors who, you know, sort of helping you out. Data, who listened to the show last week, and is,
I apologise.
No, she was very complimentary. She was listening to the right one, not someone else. Apparently, it was ours, and she enjoyed it. So hopefully, we've got another Partners in Crime listener. But so she sort of does all the organising, if we, you know, hotels and getting us there and what have you, and the producers back in the office, people like Zana and so they do all the rest. So it's a well-oiled machine out here on this production. Very impressive.
Well, they can help organise us then, can't they? If they're that impressed. So this tell us a little bit more about this Christmas short story. I know you probably can't tell me too much at the moment, but I'm guessing, seeing as it's crime and seeing as you called it rigor mortis, I'm guessing it's probably not a happy Christmas story.
Yeah. It's sort of coming up to Christmas. Well, when Adrian and Rebecca moved to the idea, I thought, well, I'm not going to have time, But then I had this little brief sort of oasis in the middle of filming, and I thought, well, it'd be churlish not to try and put something together. And of course, writing in short form is something I'm not used to. And like any novel, short story, a ghost story, it's got to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And there's certain requirements, I suppose. It's got to be spooky. It's got to be sort of ghosty, and it's sort of got to be around Christmas. Well, I've cheated that a little bit. It's coming up to Christmas in the story, but it's based on pretty much things and places that I've been to over here, and the effect of one particular visit to an exhibition I had over here had quite a profound effect on me. And I thought, well, actually, maybe I should write about that. I won't say exactly what it is, because that will give something away if anyone wants to read the stories. But anyway, it's not just me. There's the Hobeck writers and new writers and what have you. They're all doing their bit. So hopefully it'll be a nice fireside book to read or perhaps listen to. I don't know. Maybe we'll get them audio read and for Christmas. So it's been fun. And so I'm feeling quite smug with my industry.
Yes, I bet. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know what the weather's like in Latvia at the moment, but it's actually still quite mild here. So I think the only fireside reading I'll be doing this Christmas might be in front of the barbecue at this rate. Is it really? Well, the temperature has dropped, I have to say. I mean, that's where it went. It's a grey day here, looking out over the Daugava River, and it's not been too bad. But the temperature has started to drop, and boy, do you notice it when it does. But I think even the Latvians would agree that it's unseasonably mild, considering that the temperatures that they're used to having this time of year. Yeah, so something's going on. Well, we know it is, but apart from Trump, nope. Yeah, we don't need to talk about him anymore, do we? Because no, he's the oxygen. Well, you say that. Isn't it wonderful? We still are, because he's sat there and he's not going anywhere, as an awful lot of commentators have been predicting over the last year, just saying, what happens if he just doesn't go? Yeah, moving. So I haven't read the news today, so maybe he's got off his throne. And no, he hasn't. He hasn't. It might not surprise you. But yes, of course, we shouldn't talk too much about politics. It is a crime fiction podcast, but then again, squatting is a crime. So we will avoid that. If you're one of our partners in crime patrons, then you'll be watching us in I would say full glorious Technicolor, but in kind of weird. We are on opposite sides of Europe at the moment, colours, piping through the internet. So again, apologies for anybody who is not watching but is listening and is getting some slightly odd audio quality. That's why. It's due to lockdown, due to Bob working away in Latvia at the moment, being a celebrity, and we're trying to kind of piece things together. We are usually better than this, a bit better than this. Well, but if you are looking forward to getting back and socially distancing, you're in lockdown. Can I come into the studio if we're social distance and record? Or do I don't know. I'll have to look that up. I think it does count as work purposes, but we should be as cautious as we can. But I will look it up and see. You are very cautious. You are Mr. Health. Yeah, I have to say, and I look to you for advice on this. Well, I'm married to a virologist. I've got absolutely no excuse whatsoever. I've got no chance. So, you're going to be friends with me when you get back. Then I thought, you might find your new friend in Liz Hurley, and Oh no, I'll still talk to you. Of course, I will. Probably not outside the podcast. I'll probably just get a limousine to pick me up after we've recorded and go home. And no, it hasn't gone to my head at all. You want me to keep 2 meters away from you in public at all times, even once social distancing ends?
Yeah, well, 2 meters, I don't mind. Really. 2 meters are essential, so long as you walk behind me.
Yes, of
That's
course,
all
like the
ask.
Queen.
So, yeah,
Like the Queen,
yes.
don't turn my back on you.
Calling me the Queen.
You've
That'll
been
be
called
very
worse, dear.
No, don't worry. My feet are firmly, are firmly planted on the ground. So, although it was great fun, we had a lovely day yesterday. We had a day off because it's very discombobulating in a way, because the day off that the film crew, the film production have, is on a Tuesday, and sometimes if they're not working a 6-day week, which they often are, it's a Tuesday and Wednesday. So those days feel like the weekend. So it's very strange. We went out, and Elizabeth and the director Anthony and the cinematographer Roger, our dear friend Roger Simons, are out in this beautiful place in the middle of Abergunsta, which is got and because they're filming every day as opposed to Lazy Bones here, and we went out and we had lunch there yesterday with them, which was just beautiful. It was a bit like being in a Chekhov play, but with more laughs, and mind you, Chekhov thought his plays were comedies, and I think they probably are. And it was quite beautiful. It really was. So it's not all work.
No, of course. Well, I was going to mention, actually, we were talking about Patreon a moment ago. Sorry to go back to that. Our book of the month, which we've not talked about in a little while, is available for our patrons. If you are a current Partners in Crime patron, then log in to your Patreon dashboard, and you'll find a link to download your free copy of List of Secrets by D.F. Hart, which is our book of the month. This month, it's the second book in the Vital Secret series, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. I'm just going to read off the back of the book, because that's what we do here. It could just be coincidence.
And we don't do much well, but we do that okay. We're good back of book readers. Okay. Yeah. I'm a gog.
Okay. I've called you worse. It could just be coincidence. It could also be revenge. But hardened cop Frank Zimmerman doesn't believe in coincidences, and neither does FBI profiler Nathan Thomas. A drowned lawyer, a fatal car accident, and a socialite's lethal fall in front of a huge crowd all have their cop antennae pinging hard. They dig for evidence to support his theory of a trail of bodies that lead into the past. What's going on, and who will die next? List of Secrets is book 2 in the Vital Secrets series, and even better, if you think we're trying it on by giving you book 2 away for free, we're not. The reason we've done that is book 1 is already free. So if you head over to Kobo, you can get book 1 in the series for free. It is on there free anyway for everybody. And if you're a Partners in Crime patron, you can pick up book 2 for free as well. And of course, that is exclusively for Partners in Crime patrons. If you want to become a patron, it costs from as little as £2 a month. You get a free book of the month every month, which is usually worth at least a £5. And all sorts of other stuff. You get to watch us in full BBC colour on the Patreon videos, instead of just listening to us through your phone or whatever you do. All sorts of other benefits there. Go through the link in the show notes, or head over to patreon.com/Partners in Crime podcast. How about that? Should we do some news?
How about that? Yes, why not? I've got one piece here. As you can imagine, my finger isn't exactly on the crime fiction pulse at the moment, but this did come through on my phone from the ever excellent and hugely reliable Paul Hearens at Killing Times, which is the ITV has just announced that they've got to commission a new crime drama from the creator of Shetland and Vera, which is of wonderful Anne Cleeves. Award-winning novelist Anne Cleeves' new creation, Detective Matthew Venn, is coming to television. The creator of Shetland and Vera released the first novel in her series, The Long Call, in 2019. So I suppose, while they said about getting this set up, it won't be on our screens, I should imagine, for at least a year. It's quite a good idea to go to Kobo and order your copy of The Long Call and get into Anne's latest series. The story centres around Detective Inspector Matthew Venn, who has returned to live in a small community in North Devon with his husband, Jonathan. It's a place Matthew walked away from 20 years ago after being rejected by his family. We first meet the reserved but intense Matthew Venn, got to be intense, outside the local church as his father's funeral takes place. Sadly, the day Matthew turned his back on the strict evangelical community in which he grew up, he lost his family too. Now he's back, not just to mourn his father at a distance, but to take charge of his first major murder. A body has been found on the beach near to Matthew's new home. A man with a tattoo of an albatross on his neck has been stabbed to death. Through Venn and his team's investigation, we are introduced to a wonderfully rich ensemble of characters in a compelling crime story which captures the stark beauty of the North Devon coastline and a community where murder and intrigue bubble beneath the surface. We all need a little bit of murder and, well, not murder, but intrigue bubbling below the surface. That sounds absolutely fantastic. From the pen of Anne Cleves, and ITV are going to be doing it. So it will take its place next to Vera, the wonderful Vera Brenda show in the schedule. So I'm looking forward to that.
Excellent. I have got a copy of The Long Call somewhere. I did turn around while you were talking there to see if I could find it on the bookshelves behind me, but I don't know where it is. So I can only presume my son has taken it to pretend it's a pancake or a goat or something. So I don't know where that's gone, but I have got it and it's very good. While we're on the news,
in Anne Cleves' latest book, it's a pancake shaped. Would you say it's a what? A donkey?
I can't remember now. Goat, I think I said. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's very good at misappropriating toys and pretending they're something else if he hasn't got a toy.
Well, that's something I missed, really. We should all be able to still do that, but we rarely do when we reach extreme maturity like us, or extreme immaturity.
Extreme something. The bookseller carried an article recently announcing that Richard Osman's debut crime novel, The Thursday Murder Club, was named W.H. Smith's Book of the Year this year. Unsurprisingly, seeing as in September it was announced that the book became the fastest selling adult crime debut since Bookscan Records began. And it is currently still at number 3 in this week's UK official top 50 chart. I won't get you to do the countdown song, Bob. But the novel tells the story of 4 septuagenarian friends who live in a retirement community and, led by a former spy, form the Thursday Murder Club to solve cold cases for fun. But when a shady property developer is found dead, the 4 find themselves in the middle of their first live case. Here it is, for those of you who are watching on the video, Richard Osman's Thursday Murder Club. And for those of you who are relegated to mere audio, have a listen to this.
Oh, that's very good.
It sounds like the biggest selling debut adult fiction book since Bookscan Records began, doesn't it?
It sounds like, I think we announced.
You hear it in the pages.
I can hear it. Well, that's definitely a Richard Jobson. Did I say Richard Jobson? That's a completely different person.
It's definitely not Richard Jobson. I'll hold it up again so you can read it. Bob.
Richard Osman. Why did I get Richard? I know Richard, but I know Richard Osman as well. Yeah, well, that sounds like a Richard Osman, not a Jobson. It sounds like an Osman novel. But we also announced, I think, not announced. He bought the rights to film it, whether he directs it himself or what have you. So it's all happening on the Osman front, and justifiably so. He's a very, very funny and incredibly clever man.
Yes, an incredibly rich man now after that 7-figure book deal times 3. But there we are. Also in the news, while we're talking about prizes and people doing very, very well indeed, The Independent in Ireland had an article recently looking at the 6 shortlisted titles for this month's An Post Irish Book Awards. And I've probably said that completely wrong. The shortlist is The Cutting Place by Jane Casey, which I think is also on the bookshelves behind me. She is the reigning champion, having also won in 2015 with her latest, and it says here, perhaps best in her Maeve Kerrigan series of police procedural novels, The Cutting Place. Also on the list, Our Little Cruelties by Liz Nugent. She won the award in 2018 with Skin Deep and 2014 with Unraveling Oliver. Poor Oliver. Our Little Cruelties opens with 3 brothers at a funeral, and one of them is in the coffin. Nugent then explores Will, Brian, and Luke's tangled and often fractious relationships with each other and their mother from childhood to adulthood. One of them now lies dead, but which one killed him and why? The Nothing Man by Catherine Ryan Howard. She stretches the boundaries of the form, it says here, with one narrative nestled inside another like a fiendish puzzle box. First, we have the true crime memoir of Eve, who, as a child, survived a horrific attack on her family. The main narrative then follows security man Jim, panicking that his real identity, he was the killer, is about to be exposed. That's from The Independent in Ireland. Also on the list, Lucy Foley's The Guest List, 50/50 by Steve Kavanagh, and After the Silence by Louise O'Neill, which again focuses on secrets and lies on a remote island off the west coast. I'll read you a little bit about this one. Keeling Kinsella fled her troubled past and abusive husband, bringing her son Alan with her. Remarried to Henry of a wealthy hotelier family, they live with their daughter on a windswept island. 10 years earlier, a local girl was killed during a party at their house. Henry and Keelan have always been suspected. Now an Australian documentary team visits, hoping to crack the case. It says here that it mixes social trademark, crying out loud, trademark social commentary with a twisting whodunit. You can tell it's nearly December, can't you? The voting is now closed for the Irish Book Awards. Oh, for Pete's sake! And the winner will be announced on Wednesday, November the 25th. Bob, take over, please.
Yes, well, thank you for announcing that tongue-twisting ending to that novel. Yeah, well, that sounds absolutely terrific, doesn't it? I have a little bit of news again, and I don't mean to talk about myself, but as I like to say, that's enough about me. What do you think about me? My audiobook, the first novella, came out this week, and it's available at all good audio booksellers, apart from Audible yet, because that takes a little bit longer to get online. But if anyone wants to listen to me droning on, read the book. I'm very pleased with it, actually. And Adrian has, and his Adrian Hobart, our wonderful co-host, on occasions has engineered it with his engineer friend, and I'm very pleased with it. So if you fancy listening to the Daws telling his story of The Rock, the first novella, then it is available out there to download and listen.
I'll be honest, I don't.
So there we are. So what do you think about me? Silence.
Yes.
Silence.
That might be the delay that I'm noticing as. Yes, slight delay between here and Latvia. I think if you lean out your window, Bob, if you pull the cup a bit tighter, just make. Give the string a bit more tension, and we should be all right.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
So yeah, in terms of news, I've not got a huge amount. I'm currently putting the finishing touches to my 10th Knight and Culverhouse book, which will be coming out quite soon. Actually, it's book 10, and it's very nearly 10 years actually since the first one came out, so you might be able to guess the release date of that one if you're a super sleuth, and that'll be announced shortly. I'm also working on the third Rutland book, which will be out fairly early next year. I think my camera's gone, hasn't it? You can still hear me though, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, I mean, the wheels are falling off this week brilliantly. We've got a delay. I've just lost you. You're frozen now.
Oh, well, you can hear me though, I think, can't you? Which is the main thing.
In a very, strangely alarming way, actually.
I'll switch cameras.
I'll wait for you to spring to life. There we
go. I'll switch cameras so you can at least see me. So apologies to Patreon viewers. You get what you pay for.
That's a very nice shirt you've got on.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes, I figured I should probably dress smart, seeing as we're on camera, and I'm a little bit scruffy otherwise because the beard is extending a little due to the lockdown. It is a little colder than I'd like, and basically I can't be bothered to trim it, and I figured I might as well have some hair somewhere on my head, even if
Yeah, I mean, that's apart from your ears and your nose. I think, you've got the overall look on camera. For those who can't see me, you've got a psychedelic sort of shirt and a beard. You look sort of like Radio Caroline DJ circa 1969. You've got that sort of look
I'll take
about
that.
you today. Yeah,
I'll take that.
Good. Okay. That's free. Now, I have been watching something. I tell you, there's something I want to give a plug for because, again, it's old news for people who follow those things, and it's available on the BBC. But I've just come to it over here in Latvia, and it's a series called DNA, which is another crime drama from the stable of wonderful crime dramas that come from Denmark, and it's really riveting right from the word go. I'm only about 4 episodes in, but I think it's incredibly well done, and it's been out on Saturday nights, I think, on BBC 4. So it's the whole series is available on catch up, of course, on iPlayer. So if you like your Scandi Noir, I'd give that a go. I've tried on a couple of other ones recently, which I haven't enjoyed so much, and I don't know for whatever reason, but this one's really caught my imagination. So it's called DNA. You can't forget that. It's in your genes. DNA, and it's well worth a view, especially if you're in a hotel room in Riga.
Well, yeah, I'm not. But one thing I have been watching while we're talking about Europe, yes, I'm back on camera one again.
The other camera was a bit to drain the colour out of your features and your shirt. So you're back in wonderful multicolour now.
It's very much the backup camera. While we're talking about Europe and crime, there's a program that I've been watching. I've discovered again rather late on Netflix. Not sure if you've heard of it, Bob. Called Swedish Dicks. It was Netflix. I found that on. I promise.
I might have seen it when I was a younger man. Is it sort of an orgy with people with flared trousers and kipper ties?
No, it's definitely Netflix. I found it on. I promise. It's a comedy, but it is set against the backdrop of a private detective agency with 2 Swedish detectives. Well, not detectives, but one's originally a stuntman. One's originally a famous club DJ, and they get together under very strange circumstances to form a detective agency in Los Angeles called the Swedish Dicks, because, of course, Dick is a term for a private eye in America, as well as also
I don't know the other connotation. Definition of the word. Is it funny?
It's very funny, actually. I'm very much enjoying it. The mysteries are there, but they're very much not the main thing.
Yeah,
it's the comedy that is the main thing. It's also, I like it because it's very much a tongue-in-cheek pastiche of the kind of the 70s and 80s Magnum PI and all of these kinds of things. It sends up that genre brilliantly. So that's on Netflix. There's 2 seasons on there. I think 20-something episodes. Very funny.
Swedish Dicks on
Dicks. Yeah, watch it from the start. It's on Netflix. It's on start. It's very, very, very good.
Okay. Is there anyone in know, or are they new to you, the cast?
They're new to me, but I did look them up, and one of the chaps I have seen in things before. I was just Googling it while I was talking there, and the results that came up weren't quite what I expected. And I had a look. Instead of typing Swedish Dicks, I typed in Swedish Counts, which is close.
Worse.
It could have been worse, yeah, if I'd mistyped that.
Well, that's good. That's the episode title, isn't it?
Yes.
Adam Google Swedish Dicks.
That's it. We've got Peter Stormare and Johan Glans, who is Peter Stormare. Yeah, he's been in Fargo, Prison Break, Jurassic Park, one of the films there, Big Lebowski, various things. Swedish actor, and Johan Glans, who is a Swedish stand-up comedian and actor, and is absolutely brilliant in this. So yeah, it's on Pop, I think, in the States originally, and on Netflix now. So yeah, highly recommend Swedish Dicks. But maybe we should, while you're in Latvia, we should form our own private detective agency. Give you something to do while we're over there. We could be the Latvian Dicks.
The Latvian Dicks. Yeah, I mean, I could. Yes, I think there's plenty of potential for. I mean, as I mentioned, I've just been writing about it, and it's as it's a country that's new to me, and I've learned so much about it in the brief time I've been here. It's fascinating, and there's all sorts of possibilities. The only thing is that there are only 1.5 million people in the entire country. So it's
can't kill them all off.
An awful lot of them are, of course, in Riga. You go out of you get out of Riga, and it's just miles and miles of extraordinary countryside, flat countryside, and you don't see anyone at all. So it's if you want some solitude, it's a great place to come and find it, I have to say. But yeah, I think there's definitely a good opportunity of actually setting up a detective or police procedural thriller in this town. And I've been flirting with the idea myself, but for now I'm going to stick with Gibraltar. Yes.
Well, there we go. So you heard it here first. If the Latvian Dicks series gets written, you know who it's from.
Well, you're so polite. You're waiting for me to say something, and I didn't.
Well, you were talking, and the delay kicked in, and I wasn't quite sure what was going on. But I think what we're going to do is reset the stream. We're going to do. He's still talking. We're going to reset the stream. We're going to do Partners in Crime, Arsenic and Old Lace, our after show for our Patreon subscribers. So from this British Dick and that Latvian Dick, we'll see you next week.
Hurrah!
Honest partneri tika iepazīstināti ar Adamu Croft un Robertu Daws, un tos ražoja Adam Croft, motīvu mūziku sniedza Zits Esarjans, partneri noziegumā logo un attēlu veidoja Stuarts Bošs, partneri noziedzībā sponsorē Kobo, jūsu vietējo grāmatu veikalu.